Hey guys, welcome to another episode of HalfTime Roomies. And today we're going to go into another segment that we're calling Scandals. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about America's favorite pastime, baseball. And we're also going to be talking about my favorite pastime, stealing. So we're going to be talking about stealing signs in baseball for this episode. And Yash is the expert on this topic. So I'm going to let Yash take it away, but I'm going to be asking a few questions. A little interrogation over here.
Sure, yeah, of course.
But first, to the uninitiated like myself, what are signs in baseball?
So signs are signals that every team creates. It's specific signals between the catcher and the pitcher. Every pitcher has their own set of signals that they receive from the catcher. As you can see on the screen right now, as the catcher right now, you can see is relaying a signal to the pitcher. That sign could either signify a curve ball, or a knuckleball, or a fast ball. So that's basically how the whole system of signs works in baseball.
So what is stealing a sign then?
So sign stealing is basically when the third base coach or the runner on second tries to relay the signals that the catcher is sending to the pitcher to the batter on home base. So that's, in its simplest form, is sign stealing.
And what's the point of it? He's basically trying to communicate what kind of ball is coming.
Yeah, so they're trying to kind of figure out what pitch is coming. It just makes life easier for the batter.
Okay. So is this then something that's unethical, or is it cheating? Like, what does it say in the rule book?
So it's not inherently against baseball rules. MLB does not out and out say that sign stealing is illegal or a crime, and it is considered by some to be a form of art, only because it's so hard to do when you don't factor in technology. In 1961, the National League did ban the use of mechanical devices. And basically how sign stealing happens is that, like I explained, the third base coach would relay signs. However, there can be a brushback pitch to that. So what a brushback pitch is, if the catcher or the pitcher kind of figure out that they're trying to steal signs, the pitcher will throw a ball that will be higher inside to kind of intimidate the batter on home base. And on the other hand, though, if a batter is caught peeking into the catcher's glove to kind of figure out the signal that's coming, that's a huge no-no in baseball. Because the signals from a catcher to a pitcher are considered to be more sacred than the signals from a third base coach to the batter himself.
Okay.
So peeking into the catcher's gloves are a huge no in baseball.
Okay. But then is there like a historical precedent for something like this? Like, has sign stealing happened in the past?
So I'll basically go by like a very more recent example. In 2017, the Red Sox and Yankees accused each other of stealing signs. The Yankees accused the Red Sox of using a smartwatch to steal signs. And basically they would be kind of looking at the footage on the smartwatch and relay it to the runner on first through the dugout. To then send a signal to the batter of which pitch was kind of coming in. The Red Sox accused the Yanks of using Yes TV, which is their own broadcast, to look at the game in real time and relay signals from the dugout. So both accused each other. MLB did conclude that there was insufficient evidence to kind of charge them heavy penalties. They were charged penalties, though. Red Sox's penalty was a bit higher than the Yanks, but it wasn't considered to be an egregious act of cheating, as we've seen over the course of baseball history.
Okay. So recently the Houston Astros were also accused of sign stealing, and this became a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
So what was that whole thing about?
So in the 2017 and 2018 seasons, the Houston Astros were accused of stealing signs through the use of technology. Using technology, as I explained, is a huge no again in stealing signs, and they were doing this in real time. So what the Astros had done at their own home ground at the Minute Maid Stadium was they had installed cameras in the center field, which was pointed directly towards the catcher's glove. And they would basically figure out signals and signs in real time. And the person in the dugout would then bang trash cans.
Angle couldn't track down. And then went for a triple. McCann does take the first in short stints, so he may face just McCann or might be in there for 2 out of 3. Astros down 2-1. So we're playing the 5th.
One bang would kind of signify a curveball, or 2 bangs would signify a knuckleball. No bangs would mean a fastball. So they were banging cans. They were in patterns. There were whistles going on in patterns. And there are also allegations that, or suspicions that players were using buzzers underneath their t-shirts. Specifically, Jose Altuve was using a buzzer beneath his shirt to kind of catch on to the signals.
But doesn't it seem like that's almost like going backwards in technology though? Using trash cans or whatever just to make banging sounds. How do you classify that as technology?
I mean, so that was just the medium to relay signs, but actual sign stealing happened when they used cameras, which no other team had installed. So no other team in Major League Baseball installed cameras that were pointing towards the catcher's glove to go out and figure out the signals they were sending. It was only the Houston Astros, only at the Minute Maid Park, who were doing this.
So it was only in their own stadium.
It was only in their own stadium. Okay. And nobody else, I mean, sign stealing has been going on for a while, but nobody's taken the technological route of it, or kind of misused technology to get the upper hand.
So, who found out then about this whole thing? How did they find out about this?
So again, Ken Rosenthal and even Evan Drellick of The Athletic in November 2019 first reported this in The Athletic. And Mike Fiers, a pitcher for Astros in 2017, informed The Athletic of video cameras in the center field used to film catcher signals. So that's basically how the whole story broke. And then there were certain other individuals who kind of contributed to the whole the whole narrative. An Astros fan, Tony Adams, did his own investigation into this matter and went through footage available on MLB TV. And he went through. He actually created an app and synced the data into the app. And then he went through 8,000 plus pitches over 30 hours.
Holy shit!
And how he did this was he would look at pitches 10 to 12 seconds before the pitch would happen, and he figured out that there were actually over 1,100 bangs in those pitches. And where it actually stands out is that on 4th of August 2017, against the Blue Jays, Adams counted 54 bangs in the first game. And Astros won the game 16-7.
So the guy who called out the Astros cheating scandal was an Astros fan himself?
One of the guys, yeah. So the two guys, actually, Rosenthal and Drellick, were with The Athletic. This was just an independent fan who got a bit curious about how the whole thing happens, and he was an Astros fan. So he also expressed his disappointment at how his own team actually used to win games through cheating. But I think the straw that broke the camel's back was Jimmy Jomboy O'Brien. And what he did was he started posting videos on his own YouTube channel using MLB footage. And I mean, Jomboy is pretty renowned for his lip reading skills.
That's, just upsetting. Now they try to do sequence, outside fastball, no bang, tries to foul it off, and then steps in again, call for the changeup, bang, bang, and Farquhar steps off and says, "Can you hear it?" He's like, "Hey, they got the fucking signs. We got to change this." So he goes on. This is super upsetting. I love tip pitching and finding someone's tell and all that. This is happening so fast. that it has to be done with a camera, and it sucks. Now they come back. He throws an off-speed pitch. There was no bang there. He gets him out.
And he basically gave a real-time breakdown of how players were relaying signals from the dugout using trash cans or whistles. The whole buzzer narrative of how it could have been something that Astros might have been using back then, because Jose Altuve has hit Aroldis Chapman for a walk-off homer against the Yankees in Game 6 to win the ALCS. As he's nearing the home plate, he mouths, "Don't rip my shirt off." And this has led to rumors that there was a buzzer installed underneath his jersey. Because the reason that they came out with was that his wife wasn't a fan of him showing his body,
yes,
in public.
Yeah, you told me this.
But you go to his Instagram and then you look at his wife with a naked Jose Altuve.
Is he naked though on his Instagram?
Yeah,
Half naked.
Half naked. And then another very pesky reason, I think Alex Bregman or someone who said that he had a half-finished tattoo on his collarbone, so he didn't want to show that tattoo on screen, on camera. So that has also fueled a lot of rumors about them using buzzers, because then he went down into the dugout, changed his shirt, and came out to celebrate.
Wow. So basically what you're saying is he lies, he cheats, he steals.
Yep.
See what I did there with the signs?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not only are you genius, you're indie genius.
You are not only genius, you are indigenous.
Because of my Indian heritage. Okay, so clearly this gave them like a huge competitive advantage because they went on to win the World Series.
They won the World Series, yeah. They beat the Yankees. Jose Altuve was the MVP that season over Aaron Judge. And as much as I hate the Yankees, as you can see, I'm a Red Sox fan. Judge did deserve it over Jose Altuve. And basically cheating throughout the season and bumping up your numbers did help Altuve with the MVP award. They did win the World Series. They beat Yanks on the way. They beat the Dodgers on the way to winning the championship. And surprisingly, all these teams had registered complaints with the MLB over the last few months.
Because they suspected it.
Because they had suspicions that they were cheating. The Oakland Athletics registered complaints with the MLB. And there was no investigation that was going on back then. And this actually did not come to light until, I think, last year or so. So this went on for quite a few years, as you can see.
So how was this like any different from the Red Sox scandal then? Because the Red Sox were also technically stealing signs. It's just, I guess, because they use technology, I guess, in this particular way to relay the information. Like how is it like different? Or what justifies, I guess, like a heavier punishment for them?
Right. So what happened with the Red Sox is that, again, Rosenthal and Drellick did report that the Sox also stole signs from the replay monitors that every team has in the dugout. Now what happens is that every team has replay monitors in the dugout, but there's always an MLB official present over there to check that teams aren't stealing signs. What they did was they would relay, and this only happened when they had a runner on first base. They would relay that signal to the runner, who would then try and relay it to the batter. So they were not using any trash cans or any whistles or buzzers to cheat. It was basically just that one guy relaying it to the batter, and this only happened a few times over the season. So MLB did consider this to be cheating. They were penalized for this. Eventually, they were stripped off their 2020 second round draft pick, and their replay operator JT Watkins was banned until the end of what was supposed to be this season.
Red Sox win the World Series! Manager Alex Cora, who helped them win a World Series in 2018, now out of a job. The Sox issuing a joint statement with Cora announcing they have mutually agreed to part ways. The team adding, "We collectively decided that it would not be possible for Alex to effectively lead the club going forward." Before heading to Boston, Cora served as bench coach for the Houston Astros during their 2017 World Series victory.
And there's also reports that there are a few other teams that have been doing this over the years. The Yankees have been accused of doing this since 2015, and a few other teams have come under investigation for sign stealing.
So then what is the punishment for the Astros then? Because if it's clearly they had like a much larger advantage over the other teams, they should be punished accordingly too, right?
So general manager Jeff Luhnow and field manager AJ Hinch were suspended for 1 season. The Astros were fined the maximum permissible amount of $5 million, and they had to forfeit their first and second round draft picks from the 2020 and 2021 draft.
The Astros manager and GM were both fired this week, but the commissioner's report identified Cora as the potential mastermind, saying Cora was involved in developing both the banging scheme and utilizing the replay review room to decode and transmit signs.
I think once you read what Rob Manfred wrote about his involvement with the Houston Astros, and you compound that with what's alleged the Boston Red Sox have done, I think the Boston Red Sox and Cora both understood what was coming.
No player was punished, however, as absolutely fucking stupid as this may sound, but neither Alex Bregman nor Jose Altuve were fined because they had immunity from the MLB for cooperating with the league, right? And lastly, Carlos Beltran, who played his final season with the Astros, won the championship with them. I think back in November he was hired. November of last year, actually, he was hired as the new manager for the Mets, the New York Mets. And when this broke out in November, and by January they were dishing out punishment and things had blown up quite a bit, the Mets fired him.
Carlos Beltran is out as manager of the Mets before he even managed a game in the wake of the sign-stealing scandal. That's according to our Jeff Passan. Beltran was a player on the Astros and was mentioned in Baseball's report, handing down suspensions to Astros GM Jeff Luhnow and manager AJ Hinch.
But also, like, do you not think that the team should be stripped of their title? If you cheat and win, by definition, your win should not count then, right? It should be stripped of the World Series then.
I mean, that's a good point, but then that also discounts all the records that have been held by players over the last few decades. A player like Barry Bonds, who hit 762 home runs. Yes, we do know that he was using PEDs. And so were so many other players back in the day. Taking the title away will not necessarily crown the Dodgers as champions. Or taking the title away will not necessarily crown Aaron Judge as the MVP. So I guess kind of like stripping away records and titles should not be the way to go. I think these runs will come with an asterisk. I think history will remember the Astros as a team who cheated their way to a championship. And whenever they are mentioned as champions, there should be a huge asterisk on their name, denoting that they were cheaters. And this is one of the biggest scandals since the 1919 White Sox scandal. Those guys were cheaters. The Houston Astros are cheaters. I think, personally, they should have been banned for a season. They should not have played the next season or this season. But that's how the way baseball works. That's how the way the fucking commissioner, Rob Manfred, has treated the whole scandal, to a point where he actually said that it's just a piece of metal.
Yeah.
When asked about the whole cheating scandal, his response was, it's just a piece of metal.
Idea of, an asterisk or asking for a piece of metal back seems, sort of a futile act. People always know that there was something about the 2017 World Series that was different, and they're going to know that because whether we made every decision right or wrong, we undertook a really thorough investigation, and we had the intestinal fortitude to put out there the facts we found, even though they weren't very pretty.
So for a commissioner who doesn't give a fuck about the sport, who doesn't care about what the other 29 teams and the fans and the whole league has put towards to play a 162-game season, and then this fucking idiot goes out and says it's just a piece of metal, that's just fucking... He should be fucking gone.
Yeah.
Rob Manfred should be fucking gone from the league.
That's the punishment.
Yeah.
But I see clearly this has hit like a soft spot for you, man.
It has, because I mean, it's...
So I can see the rage coming out. It's your vein popping over there.
Yeah, I mean, see, I'm a huge sports guy. You're a huge sports guy. We all love sports and all, but would you enjoy a United victory if they cheated their way to a league title? Would that not bother you?
Yeah.
So even the Red Sox thing, even though it didn't help them win the title, it was just a few games. It still does bother me that the Red Sox had to go out and cheat. That there will still be that few people out there who will always question that title, and I think it should bother every Astros fan and every Houston fan that their team, the only way their team could win was by cheating.
So it seems like America's favorite pastime is actually cheating now that we've come down to it.
Seems see that's not wrong to say.
I know we're getting really political on this show now.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Yash has popped a vein and has thrown down a gauntlet to the MLB as well.
At least I wasn't popping pills like MLB were.
Oh shit, dude!
Yeah.
More political shit. Oh my god, we're on fire, man. We're on fire. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So I mean, like when we get this feisty, we want to see your feistiness in the comments too.
Yep.
So leave us a comment in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
And as always, as you forget the podcast,
I always do this.
So do give us a listen on the Halftime Roomies podcast, available on Spotify, Google, and Apple. And I think with that, it's a wrap.
Toodles.
Cheerio.